Welcome to the Atomic Impact Podcast. I am your host, Jason Osborn. And on this podcast, we interview successful business owners for them to share atomic, impactful lessons that they've learned and to share them with us as well. As always, this show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way to close deals that doesn't rely on any of the old traditional methods that everyone hates. We use this method to book 26 qualified leads and get sales calls in 10 days without any ad spend, outreach, or endless social media posting. To find out more, direct message me on LinkedIn. Have a chat as Jason A. Osborn, and of course, the link will be in the show notes below. Today's guest is Jemima House. She is the owner of the Wellness Hub Solutions, where she provides a private anti-burnout coaching for midlife women and also provides corporate trainings and employee assistant programs as well. So a kind of a combination of things. So it's great to have you on the show, Jemima. And I want to start off with a question that I always ask. And the question is this. If you were to go back to when you first started your very first business and you were to be able to give the younger version of yourself a piece of advice that would have maybe stopped you from some of the heartache you have in growing business, what's the number one piece of advice that you would give yourself?
So, two things here. The first thing is I never have any regrets because I believe that everything unfolds exactly as it's meant to. Secondly, I would definitely say to myself to be more confident and just
Mm,
just believe in myself more. Don't have so
mhm.
much doubt because it didn't serve me. So
Yeah,
that's the honest answer.
yeah. So have more confidence, which obviously is a really interesting one because it's kind of a chicken and egg thing, isn't it? Sometimes because
Yeah.
it's hard to have confidence when you're new with something. And um, is it more that you just to trust yourself more? Is that kind of what you mean through
Yeah,
that?
yeah, maybe that's a better way of saying it. And that's certainly something that I speak to my clients about, that they have to have that self-trust before they can even have self-belief. And it's self-belief that pushes you forward. So yeah, I get you. It's completely chicken and egg,
Yeah.
because how can you have that self-belief if you haven't really tested yourself yet?
Yeah, yeah. I know that that's been the case for me as well as many people told me all the time, just be more confident. Like, yeah, but how? And over the years, I realized I think it just means trust yourself more and stop doubting, because then the confidence will come, which I think is really amazing point that you've brought up. And then the other thing I'd love to just understand a bit more, and I love what you've said around this, is not having the regrets.
Mm.
And can you dive into that a little more? Because I think oftentimes we can dwell on those mistakes that we've made or certain things. Like, God, if I should have done it that way, or I know I should have done it this way. But actually, by us doing those, we learn a lot from it as well. So, what's your perspective on that?
Well, there's always a gift, always, even
Mm,
in regrettable, inverted commas, situations, there is always a gift. And I just feel that if you spend your time looking backwards, then that just takes away your power for going forwards. And for myself, and certainly the people I work with, we are here for a reason. We're very clear about that. And to look backwards, what there's no merit in it. Yes, okay, if you feel that you acted out of alignment or you were out of integrity, go and make it right with those people. But don't dwell on what could have been, because personally, I don't believe it could have been any other way, like it had to unfold that way. Um,
mm.
that's I'm very strong about that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm very much along the same line of thought with that as well. I used to not be because I always thought, God, I should have done it differently. I should have done it this way. But that's just looking backwards, you know. And as I say, hindsight's always 2020. But you
Yeah.
wouldn't have learned the things that you would have learned in that. And even if you had made the other decision and it worked out seemingly in a better way or perceived better way, you still would have missed out on all of the learning opportunities that came with that as well, which means you would have had to learn them at some point down the road because you didn't learn them at that point.
Mm.
Um, So I totally agree with you. And I think I think that can be a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people.
I think yes, but only because of the framework that most of society in the free world is brought up with, which is capitalism, escalator, like do better, make more money, yeah, okay. If that's what you feel is the most important, then yeah, maybe you are going to look back and feel sad that you didn't do things a certain way. But that's not my model of the world. So,
Mm,
I feel that your joy and your mission are really, really important, and treating
mm,
people really well is really important. And I
yeah,
I don't I can't think of the word, but I don't hold everything by that model. It's
yeah,
just not me. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, on that topic, what is an area in your business that at the time was really challenging and you knew it was challenging, but ended up being one of the biggest blessings in disguise?
Oh my God. Had just one.
Yeah, exactly. Just one, says
Yeah,
every business owner ever.
I know. And I mean, I often say this, that entrepreneurship is the self-development that nobody asked for.
Exactly. That's
It's
so true.
like, okay, so I have to get to know myself while I'm trying to create an income and trying to serve others.
Yeah.
Um, I guess if broad strokes, when the money has not been flowing, then you go straight to the bottom of Maslow's triangle and straight back into the fight or flight or freeze, fawn, whatever, just like feeling really awful
Mm,
physically and mentally, and yet still feeling like I need to focus on this. That's such a big challenge. And that often
mm,
a lot of the work that I offer has this experience at the root of it,
yeah.
because it's hard being a human, right? It's hard, and everyone's doing it, and particularly those people in purpose work. It's a big challenge, and
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know if there's a clear lesson, but that's certainly something that has been in my experience that I have found really challenging, and found a way to rise above it and to go,
Mm.
no, we're continuing.
Mm, yeah, yeah. No, I think that's a really important lesson actually, because what I hear you saying from that is when you have those times, particularly like a cash flow or a decrease of revenue, I think it's a really good example because all of a sudden you do start thinking, okay, well, what's going to happen? Is this a trend going downwards? Do I need to readjust? Do I need to let people go? Do what, all of a sudden your mind starts thinking about, which are good questions to ask, because if there is a dip in revenue or something's happening, obviously you got to manage your revenue and expenses and stuff. But that's a really good thing to then start going, okay, well, how do I deal in with those in the challenging times to can still be growth minded to grow the business and continue to do what you're wanting to do whilst also dealing with those challenges. And I think, you know, uh, um, a downturn in revenue is a great example. There's so many other areas in business as well where that happens. So I think it's a great lesson. Absolutely. I think there's a lot to learn from that. Um, yeah, sorry, were we going to say something else on
But
that?
yeah, I'm just going to say, if I could encapsulate a
Yeah.
moment, it would be remembering to not make it mean anything.
Mm,
So in the past, it has, things, downturns in business, and when things don't go as expected, it can be quite like a blow, and it can shake you. But that's been one of my biggest learnings. It's like, don't make it mean anything. Like, this is not your identity. This is not who you
mm,
are. This is something you're doing. and
Mm.
you have to have some kind of grace around how it's
Yeah.
unfolding. So yeah, that's
Yeah. I think
a
it's a,
little bit
no,
more
it's a,
succinct.
no, I think it's a great lesson, a great lesson. I come at it from very similar, but a way I also look at it as well is if something's going too well,
Hmm.
I don't become comfortable because I know, and this isn't a negative thing, but I just know is if you're growing, there's always going to be a new challenge. There's always going to be something that happens, and so if something's going if everything's going really well for a prolonged period of time, I'm like, something's getting ready to happen. And that's not a negative thing. It's just I just realized that growth equals challenges because you're outside your comfort zone and there's always going to be new levels to be able to grow and accomplish, which is absolutely amazing. Well, over the next 5 years, what are you wanting to do in your business? What are you wanting to accomplish?
So the reason that I switched from small groups and working one-on-one to going into corporate is because I saw it as a way to impact more people in less time. So this Wellness Hub Solutions is actually my legacy business. I don't plan on creating any more businesses while I'm alive.
Yeah,
So what I would like to do is really get these principles of anti-burnout out there, the principles of holistic well-being, because that's really what it is. I know that phrase is so tired now, but that's really what it is. And it's helping people feel better in mind, body, and inner spirit. And that has so many benefits, not only to
mm,
the people who are involved and to their families and their communities, but also to the businesses that they work for.
yeah,
Because when people are happy, they're naturally productive. And,
yeah,
and it does have an impact on the bottom line. And, I don't want to be kind of, uh, I have a lot of integrity and I feel very genuinely that it's a good thing for the people, but it is also a really good thing for business.
yeah,
I'll leave it at
yeah.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I totally agree with you. Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Jemima, if there are people wanting to know how to get in touch with you, do you have a website that people can go to?
Sure, yeah. I mean, if they want to look at the corporate side, that website is live and that's wellnesshub.solutions. Easy.
Yeah,
And if they want to see what I'm doing in terms of private coaching, then most of my socials are at the real Jemima House. And that's how you can find me: Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, that kind of thing.
amazing, amazing, wonderful. Well, thanks so much for being on the show, Jemima. And as a reminder, this show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way to close deals that doesn't rely on any of the old traditional methods that everyone hates. To find out more, direct message me on LinkedIn to have a chat. That's Jason A. Osborn, and that will be in the show notes below as well.